Terra Luna Classic. The price has been flying and the hashtag LUNC has been trending all over Twitter. Is Luna Classic your ticket to millions in the crypto space? In this video, we discuss just that. Can Terra Luna Classic get to $1 and create crypto millionaires? We'll be discussing the technical analysis for Terra Luna Classic to see whether or not we can see this magic number reach as high as 1 cent or maybe even as high as $1 in the future. Guys, as we get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, hit the like button. I do appreciate that. Remember to subscribe if you are new, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will stay up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Right, with all that said, let's jump on down into the charts and talk technical analysis for Terra Luna Classic. Okay guys, here we have Terra Luna Classic. We are paired up with BUSD on the 4-hourly chart, and Binance is our data source here. We can see a pretty beautiful site with a pretty decent corrective, or at least corrective at the moment, structure to the upside. We have a pretty good growth pattern here, and we're going to break this down in a little bit of detail to see what our expectations are next. So we're going to start things off by applying some Elliott Wave theory here before we would break down anything further. So straight off the bat here, we can see this macro kind of standpoint, right? We kind of have this really big structured move up here down to this point and then up here, right? At the moment it's under a 3-wave structure, and unless we move up I think higher than 0.0007 does it actually change into a 5-wave structure. Let me show you what that looks like. Okay, so when we start talking about the growth of Terra Luna Classic, we've got some pretty clear targets that we want to kind of hit first, right? So right up here we can see it's set up here on 1.618 at 0.0071958. Okay, so right there is going to be our stretch target. And I say it's a stretch target because when we start talking about the breakdown of our current structures, we can kind of see things fluctuating around just a little bit. Let me just move this up a little bit. We are looking for a little bit lower than that. I think it's 5.8. There we go. So that's going to be our target there. I'm just going to remove this down so we can kind of see that a little bit clearer, right? So we have our target at the top there. Now this breakdown here, we do have a 3-wave structure just from the bottom with 1, 2, and 3, or A, B, and C. Entirely up to you how you want to map that out. Now we do actually have an interesting structure within the C wave, so it looks like it ends with 5 waves here, and then obviously we start to really break down in this kind of choppy sideways trade just down here, right? And so we start to get a good kind of amount of trend to the upside within this next section. So what we want to do is we want to break that down, right? We know that this is all corrective or the overlapping structures that are going on here, so we can of course just apply a 3-wave structure to save ourselves the hassle of having to recount it all out. But basically it's 3 waves just like this, and then at this low point down here to this high point, this is a single wave in itself. It does fall under a 3-wave structure on its own. Okay, so we have 3 waves coming up here, and then we have another 3 waves taking us back down. Now the interesting thing here is it's all kind of corrective in the way that it's kind of forming out. Let me actually just remove that for a second and show you on here. So we go 1, 2, and 3, right? We just have that small little zigzag pattern in there, and we also have one just in here as well. So we end up with this kind of like head and shoulder pattern, right? But it never actually fulfilled its purpose. It actually kind of broke to the upside. So I'm going to remove that off for a second, right? So I'm also going to remove these because these are not overly important at this stage. What we really want to do is focus on this move to the upside and whether or not this pump to the upside is finished or whether we're going to continue. Now, taking a look at it, we have a very clear structure. We go ahead and grab our fibs again. We're going to run this from the high side here, and we're going to move this over to the low side, which will be just down here. We can see that we went past the 1.618, creating a 5-wave structure. We then did pull back down, and that's also expected here. And then we moved back up again. And this is also looking like a really strong wave 5, well above our expectations, and is also counting out 5 waves. So let me go ahead and just map this in so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Basically, we go up into this first wave here. We pull back into a little wave 2. All of this here is wave 3, and all of this is wave 4, meaning that this is wave 5. Now, the interesting thing about this wave 5, as I go ahead and remove that, is we also have a good sub count. We go 1 up here, down for 2, up for 3, down for 4, and we're looking for 5. Now, the minimum expectation on our macro 5-wave count, if this is the one I just drew in, so we go 1, 2, up here for 3, 4, and 5. We've already met the minimum requirements of that 5th wave, okay? So our macro, this big 5th wave movement, it's already met its minimum requirement. It doesn't have to go up any higher. However, our sub-wave count is telling us that we might actually have a pretty good swing to the upside here within our last final 5 waves. So if I go ahead and take the fib on the current current retracement here, we can estimate that we're going to have an approximate area of, I guess pump to this kind of estimated high. This basically comes in at 0.0047229 through to a high of 0.000511072. So if I go ahead and just throw some percentages on here, for specifically from the low end, we're talking about another 28 to 39%. There's no guarantee of that because we have, as I said, met the minimum requirement of our macro, but nonetheless it is definitely a clear target that we want to be paying attention to. And as I kind of scroll back out here for Terra Luna, we can obviously take stock of that entire move, specifically from this low end of June 2022, right? So if I take this low and I take our existing high up here, we've already moved up 991% for Terra Luna. So we've moved up very, very well as that price has continued to pump. But let's talk now a little bit about that stretch target. Is it possible for us to extend even further? And I think absolutely. Okay, it's definitely possible that we can have that move, but we have to first of all correct down first. Let's take a look at the stochastic RSIs to help us understand what the momentum is currently looking like. This is just our 4-hourly chart, but let's start things off with our hourly. Okay, so on our hourly chart here, we can see that we're in an oversold area. So we are looking for a pretty good pump to the upside where we might be able to take out that next kind of 30% move. On the 4-hourly, we have to have a correction down, but it has been correcting quite nicely at the moment. So no problem with moving back up into the overbought area briefly, as we have done in the history of Luna C or Luna Classic. So as we come over into the 8-hour, again, very similar. We're looking for corrections there. So we know we're coming towards the end of a bit of a move here. On the daily, again, really up in the high overbought areas, and the weekly doesn't really exist. So we've got a little bit of momentum to the upside to kind of take out this initial target, but going after 7.1 or 0.0007198 seems like a bit of a stretch target. But if we can hit that level, it will mean that we'll have a significant surge to the upside afterwards, where we can move 1 decimal place to the left. So overall, Luna Classic here is looking very, very strong right now. I do think we're going to have that little bit push higher and then a bit of a breakdown. The breakdown from this area could be pretty catastrophic, so I want to be a little bit cautious with that. But if we're able to take out that stretch target up there, then we'll at least have a measured kind of correction afterwards, which would usually be about 38.2% of the initial move upwards. So overall, everything's looking pretty good for Luna Classic, and it's exciting to see this one fly up a little bit. But we do have to be a little bit concerned with the amount of supply and all of those things. So we definitely don't want to be going all in on Luna Classic, in my opinion. Diversification is absolutely key as well. So guys, I'm going to leave this video right there. It's interesting to see the chart and to see the way that Luna Classic is moving at the moment, and we've got some pretty good growth going for it. I do think we're going to see much higher prices at an actual bull run, which we're not in at the moment. So do expect some volatile movements overall as we kind of finish off some corrective action with many of the other altcoins as well, including BTC. So do be aware that this isn't kind of going to just go against the trend of the macro environment. It is going to go with it. So just be a little bit cautious. We enjoy the gains whilst they're there, and obviously do make sure that you lock them in if possible. If you found this video useful and informative, hit the like button. I do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Don't forget to join us down in Discord. Links are in the description below. Other than that, have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you in the next one.